Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jolera Interview Series. I'm your host, Paulo Dunley-Bletto, the Chief Channel Business for Jolera. This series features prominent executives and influencers from the technology marketplace talking about technology innovation, the as-a-service market, leadership, and the overall marketplace. We welcome back Chris Black, the Chief Revenue Officer for Jolera, who is a regular contributor to this series. Chris, welcome back to the program, and I have something a little bit different for you here today.
Nice.
We're going to be talking about big data and security, and as you already know, big data is getting bigger by the nanosecond, but I wanted to give you a couple of data points and get your reaction to them, okay?
I like it.
Let's see if any of these things surprise you or may not surprise you. So here it goes. Stat number one. The big data analytics market is set to reach $103 billion by 2023, which is next year.
I'm surprised it's that small.
You're surprised that's small?
Well, you know, big data and analytics covers such a wide variety and wide scope. Look at some of the biggest acquisitions that have been made in the past few years. Look at the major transformation initiatives that are happening in almost any business anywhere. Look at the number of pictures we take on our phones and the cloud databases that those go into. Look at the amount of data that we're creating. I'm shocked that that number is not in the trillions. Data is growing exponentially, and everything around that, from what you do with that data, how you store that data, how you secure that data, and everything else, those are all businesses that are sort of co-reliant on each other.
Okay, so stat number two may surprise you, because it's sort of surprised me. Poor data quality costs the U.S. economy up to $3.1 trillion yearly. Just to clarify, that's trillion with a T, not a B. It's past the billions. So that's obviously could be a detriment to making key business decisions in, overall business, healthcare, and other sectors.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I think we've all been part of organizations that aren't using data to make decisions, or they're using the wrong data, or the data isn't available in a timely fashion, or. We live in a data-driven world, and when that data is wrong or unavailable, bad decisions get made. We're human. This is where you're seeing artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all of these different technologies on the sides start to take these massive data sets and utilize them to make better decisions. I mean, think of the supercomputers that can beat human beings at Go, one of the most complicated games with the most permutations in ever created, or at chess.
Or Big Blue, right?
Yeah, you got it.
From IBM.
Good data creates good decisions.
Okay, so stat number three. Every person on Earth generates 1.7 megabytes of new data on a daily basis.
1.7 megabytes?
Yeah.
No, I think that's horrifically wrong. You know, what percentage of the population have smartphones? And anybody who has a smartphone and takes a selfie, your selfie's probably at this day and age with a modern iPhone, you're probably looking at 2 to 5 megs would be my guess. If you have one of those Samsung phones that's 8K, you're looking at 50 to 100 megs. So I think those numbers are horrifically inaccurate. I would say we're developing way more data than that. I guess there's, if you're thinking about people in sub-Saharan Africa who don't yet have computing devices, I guess maybe the law of averages will come into play. But I think in modern society, way more data than that.
But then we also know people that have 2, 3, and 4 smartphones.
I take 50 pictures a day. Everything I eat, I take a picture of. I take a picture of all the weird things I see, all the cool things that I see.
That's right.
It's I don't know. This is a data-driven world. I don't want to sound repetitive, but data is everywhere. It's in everything we do, from the emails we create to the podcasts we listen to the videos. Like, think of how many gigabytes this video is going to be. We're going to take that, we're going to lump it up into various videos. Yeah. Those are all making extra space. Like, well, this is reminding me of data domain when it first came out years ago,
right.
and data deduplication. And when they would run a data domain device in an environment, you would see so much duplicated data. And it was astounding at that point in time. And our data challenges have grown exponentially since.
Okay, so stat number 4, Netflix, who I'm sure you subscribe to, I know I do, has saved $1 billion per year on customer retention costs just by using big data analytics.
I believe that. Yeah. Absolutely. I think any major organization that is dealing with consumers wants to understand those consumer behaviors. I think Netflix is just one in a long line of organizations. Google does the same thing. Facebook does the same thing. Instagram, Amazon, all of these organizations are taking your data from your habits, behaviors, emails, tendencies, locations, geolocation, you name the data point. They're finding as many as they can to try and make your experience on their platform better and or more avid. So I'm not surprised.
Okay, so question for you here. So with the state of big data the way it is and the challenges facing MSPs and other channel partners from a securing and protecting of this data in real time, what do you think they should be doing?
You know, I don't know the role that an MSP really plays when it comes to some of this big data stuff. I guess if it's native applications that are being held on databases within a customer environment, you know, you want to secure those databases. You want to make sure that, you know, people have the proper access privileges and items like that. I see this as kind of a more existential problem and or opportunity where people are moving en masse to the cloud. And when I say moving to the cloud, I don't just mean going to Azure or AWS or Google Cloud. You're making application decisions. So you buy the latest Adobe application. It's purely cloud centric. It has no data center impact at all whatsoever. Adobe is responsible for securing the data, securing the experience, and making sure that you are getting the most effective user experience possible. And people will vote with their dollars and with their subscriptions on that. So I think innately the security problem is being handled by the cloud applications and by the cloud technologies that people are subscribing to. You look at Netflix. MSPs didn't have to do anything. Your home network didn't have to do anything. I mean, I assume you have basic you know, good practices around your home network, but that has nothing to do with Netflix other than the availability of Netflix for bandwidth. Netflix is doing all of the security. They're securing the big data for you. So I think one of the biggest drivers that people don't talk about when it comes to the cloud, it's not just, you know, that you've seen that picture before of the iceberg and everything's under the water. A huge piece of what's under the water is database and data management. When you pick a cloud application from a trusted vendor that you believe is doing security appropriately, it's their responsibility to keep it secure. So I don't know the role MSPs play outside of big data sets that are sitting on, you know, standard hard iron that are in data centers. I don't think MSPs have to get that involved.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's the big data picture from Chris Black. You can follow him on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for your time. And that's it for me, Paul Dunley for the Jolera Interview Series. Thanks for watching. Till next time, so long.